Welcome to the Familiarisation and Planning series of online sessions designed to introduce curriculum leaders and teachers to the Australian Curriculum version 9.0 technologies, Prep to Year 6. In this second session in the series, we will be focusing on the curriculum elements section of the curriculum. In our first session, we covered the Understand This Learning Area section of the curriculum, and our final session in the series will address planning considerations for Australian Curriculum version 9.0.
The QCAA acknowledges the traditional owners and traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet today. We pay our respects to their elders and their descendants, who continue cultural and spiritual connections to country, and we extend that respect to Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people here today. We thank them for sharing their cultures and spiritualities and recognise the important contribution of this knowledge to our understanding of this place we call home.
In Session 2, our learning goal is to understand the implications of changes to the Australian Curriculum version 9.0 technologies to plan for the transition in your own context. You will know you have been successful if you have more knowledge about the curriculum elements in version 9.0 of the technologies curriculum and can identify actions for planning in your school.
This recording is accompanied by a worksheet for you to record your responses to the activities and reflection points throughout the presentation. If you have not already done so, please take some time now to download or print the Session 2 outline resource. We will work through these three topics in the session. We began Session 1 in the series by orienting ourselves to a process we can use to engage with the changes in Australian Curriculum version 9. Let's briefly review that process now.
Here is the approach we propose to assist schools in their implementation of Australian Curriculum version 9. In this second session, we are going to be looking at the specific elements of the curriculum that may have an impact on your teaching, learning and assessment. As we consider this section of the curriculum, focus your thinking on how much you may need to refine, realign, reimagine or remove aspects of your current programs. On screen now, we have the Organisation of Technologies outlining the main changes in structure between version 8.4 and version 9.0, which we discussed in more detail in Session 1 in the series.
We will now move on to our core focus for this session, the Curriculum Elements section.
On screen in the shaded box, you will see the sections that form the curriculum elements. We will work through each of these sections throughout this presentation. As we work through the technology's curriculum elements and the changes in version 9, let's keep our process for identifying actions for planning in mind. Here is where we can begin to audit our current programs and consider what is the same in Australian Curriculum version 9 and what is different. You may wish to construct your own note-taking template, like the one indicated on screen, to help you identify the similarities and differences you notice in the Australian Curriculum version 9 for technologies that may shape your planning for the new curriculum. A table has been provided for you in the Session 2 outline resource referred to at the start of this recording. Let's start with the level description and achievement standard in the curriculum elements section. The level descriptions provide a high-level overview of the learning students should experience each year or band. With regards to the achievement standard, schools gather evidence against the relevant achievement standard across the teaching and learning cycle. Remember from the first presentation that the Australian Curriculum Technologies Prep to Year 6 comprises two subjects. Design and Technologies, in which students use design thinking and technologies to generate and produce design solutions for authentic needs and opportunities. And Digital Technologies, in which students use computational thinking and information systems to define, design and implement digital solutions for authentic problems. Technologies is written on the basis that all students will study the two subjects from prep to the end of Year 8. Technologies can be taught and assessed as a learning area using the Learning Area Achievement Standard, or the separate subjects of Design and Technologies and Digital Technologies using the separate subject achievement standards. There is flexibility for schools to develop teaching programs that integrate both technology subjects and other learning areas. This may be particularly important for primary school programs. Changes to the Design and Technologies level description include the three types of design solutions, product, service and environment, have been made more explicit. Key connections with other learning areas and subjects have been identified. These include digital technologies, science and health and physical education. Sustainability types have been defined. In the Years 1 to 2 band, students only consider environmental sustainability. Social sustainability is added for the Years 3 to 4 and 5 to 6 bands. These were not defined in version 8.4. Terminology has also been clarified. Changes to the Digital Technologies level description include three types of thinking in context. The level description paragraphs are focused on the three types of thinking: computational thinking, systems thinking, and design thinking, giving examples of what each looks like. Learning experiences that relate to the new privacy and security substrands are described, and terminology has been clarified. The organisation of the Technologies Achievement Standard in version 9 has changed. In the Technologies learning area and the two subjects, Design and Technologies and Digital Technologies, each of the achievement standards has been structured as a single paragraph to remove the artificial separation between the two strands, knowledge and understanding and processes and production skills. In version 8.4, each of these achievement standards was written as two paragraphs. For example, on screen is the version 9 Digital Technologies Achievement Standard for Years 3 to 4. In this slide, we have highlighted the two statements that relate to the knowledge and understanding strands for this band. This slide shows the same achievement standard with both the processes and production skills strand and the knowledge and understanding strand highlighted. An aspect from the processes and production skills strand leads first. Then an aspect from the knowledge and understanding strand follows, and then so on, reminding us that the strands are interconnected. This structure is mirrored in the Learning Area Achievement Standard and the Design and Technologies Achievement Standard.
We will now pause to reflect on what we have just heard about the changes to the achievement standards. When you are exploring the changes, how might you approach this with your colleagues? You may wish to use some of the strategies we have just outlined or download the QCAA resources mentioned for distribution to your teaching teams. Use the Session 2 outline resource to record your thoughts. Let's now look at the content descriptions in the strands and substrands which inform teaching and learning and underpin assessment. Content descriptions specify the knowledge, understanding and skills students learn and that teachers are expected to teach.
All of the significant changes to the content descriptions for technologies are detailed in the comparison documents on the QCAA website. On screen now is an example of these resources for digital technologies and one for design and technologies. Let's unpack one example a little more to help you understand how you can use it in your planning for the Australian Curriculum Version 9 technologies. Shown on screen is a snip of the Years 5 and 6 Digital Technologies comparison of version 8.4 to version 9.0 document, which shows how the changes are colour-coded. If something has been refined from version 8.4, it may not be colour-coded, and therefore careful consideration is needed when working through the comparison document. For example, this slide shows that the content description that was given as "Examine how whole numbers are used to represent all data in digital systems" in version 8.4 has changed in version 9 to be "Explain how digital systems represent all data using numbers." If something has been removed from version 8.4 and no longer appears in version 9.0, it will be colour-coded red. As you can see on screen, collecting, managing and analysing data has been removed from digital technologies. It now appears in the version 9 mathematics curriculum. If something new has been added to version 9, then it will be highlighted green in the comparison documents. In this instance, there has been the addition of given or co-developed design criteria and creating user stories. There has also been an addition of designing algorithms with multiple alternatives and involving control structures and variables when implementing algorithms for the Years 5 to 6 band. Finally, if a content description has moved year levels or bands from version 8.4 to version 9.0, it will be highlighted blue. There will also be a bold note to indicate what year level or band it has moved from or to. On screen you will see that explore how data can be represented by on and off states, zeros and ones in binary, has been moved from the Years 7 to 8 band to the Years 5 to 6 band. In summary, the key changes to the digital technologies subject in version 9 of the Australian curriculum include Privacy and Security substrand. This has been added to all bands, ensuring students develop an understanding of privacy, data protection and online safety. The addition has resulted in specific content descriptions that focus on responsible digital citizenship. Acquiring, managing and analysing data substrand removed. The previous Acquiring, Managing and Analysing Data substrand has been removed from digital technologies. Instead, data analysis is now explicitly referenced and assessed within mathematics for Prep to Year 6. This change aims to better align data-related concepts with numeracy skills taught in mathematics. Generating and designing content shifted. The contents of the generating and designing substrand have moved down by one band. For example, Years 5 to 6 content from version 8.4 is now in Years 3 to 4 in version 9. This shift ensures that students engage with design and creation processes at an earlier stage. Separation of Prep from Years 1 to 2 band. In version 9, Prep has been separated from the Years 1 to 2 band, creating a distinct curriculum focus for Prep students. This allows for a clearer progression of digital skills from early years onwards. New terminology introduced. Updated language has been incorporated, including terms such as digital footprint and user stories. These additions help students engage with contemporary digital concepts that reflect current industry practices. Achievement standards and content descriptions updated. The word length of the achievement standards has been reduced, making them clearer and more concise. Several content descriptions have been revised to improve clarity and alignment with learning outcomes. These changes aim to enhance curriculum clarity, skill progression, and cross-subject alignment. The Prep and Years 1 to 2 bands, as per Digital Technologies, have been separated, allowing for more targeted learning experiences at each stage. In Prep, the substrands Generating and Designing, Producing and Implementing, Evaluating and Collating and Managing have been combined into one substrand named Designing and Making, reflecting the hands-on, play-based learning approach. The number of technologies contexts has been reduced across years 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and 5 to 6 by combining similar content areas, ensuring a clearer and more streamlined approach. The Generating and Designing substrand now explicitly includes digital tools from years 1 to 2 onwards, supporting early integration of technology in design processes. New terminology has been introduced, such as replacing criteria for success with design criteria, aligning with industry standards. The achievement standards have been refined with a reduced word length, improving clarity and usability. Additionally, content descriptions have been updated to enhance alignment and progression across year levels and bands. These updates provide a clearer, more structured approach to teaching design and technologies, supporting students in developing essential problem-solving and design skills. As explained in Session 1, the number of contexts in the Prep, Years 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and 5 to 6 bands has been reduced by combining contexts. The table shows the progression of types and number of design solutions from Prep to Year 6. The types of design solutions have been defined. This was covered in Session 1. In Prep, students can choose to produce a product, service, or environment. From years 1 to 6, students should have the opportunity to produce each of the 3 types of designed solutions.
What are the key messages from this section of the curriculum that have resonated with you? Take a moment now to note down your key messages from this session.
That concludes our review of the Curriculum Elements section and the changes to achievement standards and content descriptions for technologies. Let's pause and recap what we have considered in this second session in our Familiarisation and Planning series, and what we can do with our new base of knowledge to help us plan for version 9.
As we have worked through both sessions 1 and 2, we've been in the review and audit phase, considering the similarities and differences we've observed in the Understand This Learning area and Curriculum Elements sections. Let's now turn our attention to what these similarities and differences might mean for our teaching and learning and assessment plans, to identify some actions for ourselves from here. With the information you now have from participating in these sessions, you can start to make some decisions about how much you may need to refine, realign, reimagine, or remove from your current programs to meet the requirements of the revised curriculum. Based on what you have heard about the changes, where do you need to focus your attention as you plan for the transition to the Australian Curriculum version 9? We'll now pause for a moment to allow you to start that decision-making process. Reflecting on what you've heard and considering your current plans, you may be thinking that implementation of version 9 in your context will largely be about making refinements to what you have already got. You've recognised that you have a solid foundation in your current program, and the changes in version 9 will only mean minor adjustments to your teaching and learning activities and assessments. Alternatively, in other contexts, and perhaps in certain year levels only, you may need to consider realigning your activities and assessment based on changes to the content descriptions and achievement standards we've considered in this session. Perhaps there are certain year levels where you want to reimagine some units. You may have been reflecting on the changes we've discussed in sessions 1 and 2 and decided it is an opportunity to redesign some teaching and learning activities or assessment tasks. Therefore, has the version 9 curriculum prompted some new thinking for you about how to move your plans forward? Finally, are there some aspects that it will be necessary to remove in order to meet the requirements of the revised curriculum in your context? You may wish to use the tables in your Session 2 outline to plan your next steps. Consider your current teaching, learning and assessment plans and use the scale, where 5 equals strongly agree, to evaluate how much you need to refine, realign, reimagine or remove material from your current plans. Record some notes where you have identified particular actions. Pause the session recording and take some time to determine where the majority of your work will be as you plan for version 9.
As the session comes to a close, let us reflect on our learning goal and success criteria. We have built our knowledge about the Australian Curriculum version 9.0 technologies and identified some actions for planning in our particular school context.
That concludes the second session and our discussion on the curriculum elements section. In the final session of our series on familiarisation and planning, we will be discussing how to plan with the Australian Curriculum version 9. On screen, you will see an infographic that is part of our Elements for Effective Planning resource. You may wish to access this resource to familiarise yourself with its contents prior to the next session. On screen, you can see where this resource is available on the QCAA website. If you have any queries regarding the information from this session, please reach out to the K-10 Curriculum and Assessment branch with the contact details noted on screen. We thank you for your time in completing this session and look forward to working with you in Session 3 of the Familiarisation and Planning series. If you don't do so already, we recommend you follow QCAA on one or more social media platforms to stay in touch with us and to find out about upcoming resources and professional learning.